Hey everyone, it's Wednesday, hump day. Yeah, but there we are. We are halfway through the week. You'll notice that, where are we? That the perch bubbles have gone. They've been finished and they are now hanging on my new bit of hanging space just there. So yeah, very happy with those. Let's hope that Russ is happy with those as well. It's almost 6 o'clock again, so I'm late into the shed again today. Been to the dentist. Luckily, nothing too bad. Just a checkup and a clean. All good. Well, am I waffling again? Anyway, right. So jobs for today. Jobs for this evening. I haven't got long in here. I've got about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at the most. As I say, it's almost 6 o'clock. So you remember the what they're called? The trotting floats. That's what they were called. The trotting floats that we were making. We put them onto the skewers. So first job today is to cut down the skewer to the right length, and then I'm going to put them in the lathe and turn all those bits of balsas down. So got a busy evening ahead of me, so I better crack on. So I will sort myself out, get my lathe set up, get everything trimmed up, and I'll get back to you in a second. So very simply, I'm taking the balsa body on the bamboo skewer and I am chopping each one down at 17 centimeters. In that way, then I can fit that into my lathe and it will be nice and easy to turn. What I don't want to try and do is keep moving the balsa on and off the skewers, particularly when they've turned, because once you've turned them, they get very thin at the bottom, and as you're moving them up and down, it can quite easily split the balsa. So I want to try and leave them in place as much as possible. So I'm going to trim down the skewer to 17 centimeters. So let me mark that quickly. So I know you can't see this on the camera, but I'm just marking that at 17 centimeters. And I'm just going to snip it with a pair of side cutters. Easy as that. So that bit there is 17 centimeters long. That bit there is scrap, but it's not going to be scrap because I will always use these to make the foot end of other types of floats. So for, when I'm making a set of wagglers like this, for example, I will use this off-cut stem to make the foot piece, this bit here. So they will never go to waste. So they will sit in a little pot of spares and I will use them as and when I need them. So I've got 11 more skewers to chop down. So yeah, I'll get back to you in a minute. So there we are. Cheers everyone. I'm all set up and ready to start. Dirty and ready to start sanding. So I've got myself a nice fresh bit of, what grit is this? Let's have a look. 240, that's what it is. 240 grit, aluminium oxide paper, and which I find really cuts through the balsa nicely. So I'm going to use that to turn it down. And then I've got a really old piece of 400 grit, wet and dry, which I just used to put a final finish on it. I've connected up my hose pipe. So that's on it as well. And we're ready to go. So I'm going to switch you over to the other camera and hopefully you'll be able to see what it is that I'm doing. It's going to get noisy as well. Sorry. Here we go. You ready for this, everyone? Let's plug in the vacuum cleaner with Henry. There we are. Sorry about the noise. Right, here we go. Let's just check the thickness of the thing on the old gauge here. I can't remember what they call them. I can never remember the name. I don't want to take off too much. Yeah, that's not going too badly at all. A little bit more to take off on that one. Good. And finish it with the finer paper. There we are. That's the first one done. Lovely. I'll just check the thickness of this again. We don't want to take too much off. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Good. So that's the first one done. 11 more to go. So there we are, all done, all turned down. So I've now got 11 of these, which I'm quite pleased with. So that's 11 out of the 12 come out all right. One of them, I lost one of them, so it went a bit wonky. So let's compare it. So I don't know if you can see that. You can see the difference between the two. And I think the reason is this is the good one. I hope you'll agree. So that was okay. But this one, I think the centered wasn't quite centered enough. And as a result, the sanding got a bit wonky. So we're not going to use that one. That one's destined for the bin. But I've still got 11 left, which is good. So that's why it's important to always give yourself a couple of extras, okay? And then if you do make mistakes, because let's face it, we're not perfect. I'm certainly not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. So yeah, I've still got 11. I'm still going to make all 11 because you never know. I might lose another one along the way. I could drop it. I could step on it. Who knows? So next job is to put these into exactly the position that I want with just the right amount of tip showing. So I'm going to glue those in place using a little bit of super glue. And then once they're all glued, I can then stain them. So gluing, the glue I use is Gorilla Super Glue. It's a really good one. I use the one with the blue tip. It's got quite a fine nozzle on the end, and it's quite gel-like. So it comes out quite gloopy, so that's good. I literally need the tiniest amount of this stuff. I don't know what it is about this balsa, but it sticks to the bamboo like ridiculously. So just the tiniest bit. So I'm going to do it to the other camera so you can see it. So yeah, literally just the tiniest bit of glue. You can see that coming out. It's just want the tiniest bit. There we are. And then I'm going to use the side just to smear that glue around, because what I don't want is a big build-up of glue when I slide the balsa forward. So there's no measurement on here. I'm just going purely by eye. All I want is that tip point showing. So, and as I'm pushing the balsa up the bamboo, I am just going to rotate it quite quickly, and that helps the glue spread around and stops it bunching up. So I'm going to keep working to the tip, and we're about there. So there we go. So let's show it to this camera now. Hopefully you can see that. So you've just got the pointy bit showing, and then onto that pointy bit I will add the tip. So there we are. They're still at 17 centimeters long, which is still far too long. But once I'm my next project after I have, or the next part of the project, after I've glued them all, is to stain them down. So I will leave them at this length for now until I've stained them. And then I can use this bit to stick in a bit of wood. I'll show you what I mean about that in a minute. But anyway, let's get the rest of these glued on. So now it's time to stain. I'm using a dark mahogany, is it? Yeah, brown mahogany wood stain. It's just a water-based wood stain. Nothing fancy about it. You can get it cheap as chips online. And yeah, and again, it's just a case of putting it on a brush and putting it on the balsa and the stems. So yeah, have a look at the other camera. So what I do is I fill the lid of the pot with a bit of the stain, and that way It's easy to get the brush in. And yeah, just brush away. And it really does soak in really nicely to the balsa. There's no rocket science to it. Be quite liberal with it. That's it. And it just really soaks in nicely and gives a lovely, dark, rich, mahogany colour to the balsa. And I'll stain down the stems as well. Another reason why I've left a little bit of length on the stem is so that I can store it in a little rack I've made just next to me here. So you can see that. Yeah, so just here, I've just got a plank of wood, flattened it down, sanded it down so it's just a bit nice and smoother, and then I've drilled a series of holes in it so that I can stand the floats up in it. That's it, quite simple. So I'm going to crack on and get these stained. I think once they're stained, that'll be me for the night, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So just cleaning my brush after doing all that wood staining. They're all done. Always clean your brushes after you've used them, and then you can use them again. So there we go. They're all stained. All 11 of them stained down, and we're going to just leave them there for a day or so to dry. So I won't be in the shed tomorrow. So yeah, I've got something exciting planned. So I'm going to need to get an early night because I've got an early start in the morning. So I'm going to be getting up probably about 4:30. And I'm meeting Ali at 5 a.m. and we are going to Cornwall. So I don't know if you know, I live near Heathrow Airport. So going to Cornwall is quite a schlep for us. We're doing what we call our pasty run. So yeah, so that'll be great. We're going to just hit the road nice and early, get down to Cornwall. We're going to head down to Padstow where we know a beautiful little pasty shop and get ourselves some pasties. And then have a little look around, might go somewhere else, I don't know, might take you along for the ride, who knows. If I don't see you tomorrow, I will see you on Friday. Let's see what tomorrow brings, but wish me luck because the weather's not looking great. So anyway, I'll see you soon.